Really appreciate it. So, before I introduce David, here's just a kind of a quote from Martin Luther King. So, over 50 years ago, Martin Luther King said the United States, in his crucial Beyond Vietnam speech, and everyone should watch it if you haven't watched it or re-listen to it, because it really, it gives a nice overview of exactly what he did in the past, what he was foreseeing, and history has vindicated him because we're still here. Fighting against wars. He said a nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death. So if we take this seriously today, the U.S. appears to be in a zombie state. So our next speaker, David Gilbert Pedersen from Minnesota United Workers United, Minnesota Workers United, ties all of this very, very eloquently. He makes the connections that we need money for human needs and not war. So please give a nice warm welcome to David.
Yeah, David!
Hi everybody, thank you so much for being here, especially in this cold weather. My name is David Gilbert Pedersen. I'm with Minnesota Workers United. You know, the United States government, the State Department is right. We're at war. Working class people are dying. Our infrastructure is under attack. Our human needs are being misfunded. People are being tortured and killed. The problem that the U.S. government has is they get who our enemies are wrong.
Yeah.
That's right.
Working class people are being shot down in the streets, but they're not being killed by Iraqis or Ukrainians or Afghanis. They're being killed by the motherfucking police.
Yeah.
Just this week, we've seen the police shoot a peaceful protester in Atlanta. We've seen them beat a man to death in Memphis. We've seen a killer cop, Derek Chauvin, demanding freedom after choking a man to death for 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Our enemies are real. Our enemies are destroying our infrastructure. But our enemies don't come from Venezuela. They don't come from the Philippines. They don't come from Vietnam. Our enemies are Jacob Fry and Margaret Anderson Kelleher, who can't get our motherfucking streets clean. Our enemies are the people shutting down our businesses, shipping things overseas. The people who are draining all of the money out of our system are the executives. They're the CEOs. Our enemies are distracting us from the point. They're trying to take our eyes away from the brutality and the horrors that working class people live in every day. But those enemies don't look that different from us. They're just a little bit richer. Those enemies are the NGOs and the foundations and the non-profits that are running a counter-revolutionary program in our city after our police murder people every single week. This is unacceptable. And the thing is that the only thing that can tear this war machine down, the only thing that can change the terrible trajectory we are on is working people. Mass movements of working people must rise up, and we must turn the guns around and understand who our enemies really are. We need to rise up. We need to destroy capitalism. We need to destroy imperialism. Our only way forward is together, and our only way forward is educating our neighbors and our friends and our communities about who our real enemies are. The police, the bureaucrats, the counter-revolutionaries, the elected officials. All of these people are killing us every day. And it's time that we realize who our real enemies are and come together under a program for betterment for our people and escape from this terrible capitalist system. And that means we have to keep coming out in the cold. That means we have to come out when it's a little too hot out. But the thing is, we got to keep our foot on the gas because this is only getting worse. Our conditions are only getting tougher, and we need liberation for our people now.
Thank you so much, David.
Yeah, thank you, David, and thank you all for coming to say no to U.S. wars and militarism. As the U.S. continues to wage war across the globe, people will continue to be killed and maimed, while people in the U.S. will continue to be deprived of fundamental rights, such as health care, that money could go to instead. As MLK said in his speech, Beyond Vietnam, The war in Vietnam is but a symptom of a far deeper malady within the American spirit. He attributed the U.S.'s endless wars to a system where profits are put above human needs. We see this today as the U.S. continues to prop up the Israeli occupation of Palestine and ramp up aggression against Russia and China while ignoring the struggles of people in the United States. So thank you again for coming and for standing against endless U.S. wars and advocating for that money being spent on human needs instead. Before you go, I have a couple of announcements. So first of all, Women Against Military Madness is having Let's Talk About How to Stop Endless Wars on Friday, January 27th from 6 to 8 at 4200 Cedar. And there will be pizza there. And then the Anti-War Committee is having What is BDS? Learn from Palestine Solidarity Activists on Thursday, February 2nd at 7 p.m. At Mayday Books, so right here. Fight Back News is having a fundraiser party on January 28th at 7 p.m. at the MFT office.